So, good morning, folks. My name is Tim Ealer, meteorologist. Welcome to my channel, and I do forecasts every day. I love the weather. If you're new to the channel, like this video if you like it, subscribe, share with your friends. I'm not perfect. I do the best I can as forecaster here. I'm a recent graduate from Mississippi State last spring as a operational meteorologist. So, um, I'm still learning, of course, but we have a potential for, a pretty impactful snow event, even right now, Wisconsin out west here into the north and further west along the west coast. There's really nothing going on. So our focus is going to be mostly on the northeast. I haven't forgot about the Midwest, folks. We got some cold temperatures up here. We'll go over that in a minute. We'll also go over the current hazards, and then we're going to focus exclusively on the southern snow potential, mid-Atlantic, and the northeast. And we'll resume our other discussions about the long range after this event, either today or tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow or Monday, depending on. I have much more time to put into these videos, so stay tuned for that. Like I said, we're going to do current hazards. We're going to do current temperatures, any other potential severe weather or excessive rainfall. Then we're going to dive right into the meat of it with the analysis, snowfall totals, things like that. Utilize the timestamps. Okay, guys, you don't have to listen to this whole thing. All right, utilize the timestamps. Anyway, let's get started. So for current hazards for right now, we have quite a bit going on here. Um, Related to the system diving from the south, potential southern snow here, and snow squalls up here as well, and lake effect enhancement. This is mostly wind related, right? We got red flag warnings, high wind watch, all along the front range of the Rockies here, and into North Dakota, South Dakota, parts of Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, points east, and further south here in the Texas, red flag warning, and then a freeze watch further south. Cold temperatures pushing pretty far south here, guys. Further to the east, we have winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings. Looks like winter storm warning, winter weather advisories, and we have winter storm watch along the lakes here. Winter weather advisories in the favorite areas here. With snow squalls moving through, winter weather advisory in middle Georgia with a freeze watch further to the south, and freeze warning along the west coast of Florida. And out west here, can't forget about you guys, stagnant air quality alerts here, dense fog, and high winds potentially here along the southwest coast of California here. So this is the current temperature. Is brutally cold up here in the single digits to negative single digits up here in the north, to the all the way in Nebraska, Iowa, and this cold air is going to push to the south. Cold for a lot of U.S., except for the Miami, maybe 62, right? But yeah, northern Florida in the 30s, well, on the Gulf Coast in the 50s, but not too cold here in the southeast right now, the northeast, but generally below freezing. So most of the nation either below freezing or close to it, with the exception of the far southern tier of the U.S. So here's a graphic for the local area for the light snow in the Georgia mountains today, the 17th. Rain mixed with snow in the North Georgia mountains, maybe above 2,000 feet with accumulating snow, but um, minor travel impacts today. So this is also important, of course, with the winter weather for tomorrow. Central Georgia, um, all the way down to the Waycross area, Dublin, Macon is covered in this, and points to the northeast and southwest. Of course, further to the south, there may be some advisories, but they may not be on this map. Um, Snow accumulation between a quarter and a half an inch, with isolated measuring up to 1 inch. Um, the biggest threat, of course, is refreezing if the precip does not melt enough and dry on the roads in time. So now, potential winter weather Saturday and Sunday. This is another graphic from Peachtree City. The chance for quarter-inch of snow Saturday and Sunday is relatively, about 30-40% here. And points further south seem to have a little more likelihood here. This may still shift to the northwest, guys. So, got to keep up an eye on this. Very low chance. Snow totals 2 to 3 inches, but and there's still differences as they talk about here with the models, but so there'll be a sharp cutoff between snow, no snow, rain, things like that. So we'll just have to keep an eye on it. Now, temperatures for today, highs in the 50s, so not too bad, right? Mostly sunny to sunny skies. Tonight, of course, temperatures in the north in the low 20s. To near freezing further south and above freezing in South Georgia. Precip chances, this is based on where the most precip is expected with that rain snow, right? So this map doesn't show snow, but just precip, right? So the percentages are up here. And tomorrow, see the surface temps getting up in the low 40s, right? So if we do get some sun to peek out tomorrow, yeah, you see the snow on the map here in the Macon area. So we do get the sun to peek out. It may dry the roads enough where we may not have a problem. So we'll have to see how that plays out. So key messages for the Midwest and Northeast snow squalls from the Weather Prediction Center today. Snow squalls behind the Arctic cold front, dangerous driving, snow squalls possible today. So very intense snow bands may move through very quickly. And if you're driving, reduce speed, turn on your lights and hazards, and avoid slamming on the brakes because people behind you probably cannot see you. I took my glasses off. How do I look? So, there's my glasses. I need them to read because I'm getting older. So, I hate wearing them, but that's just part of getting older, guys. So, let's take a look at the NAM model. And at this range in our forecast, the area of interest is 30 hours out still. So the NAM is much better at resolving these features than HRR is. So uh, as we get closer to this possible event, we um, would switch to the HRR, which is, 12, like around hour 18 or so, where there's not as much noise and air is amplified as you extend out the HRR's range, right? So think of the HRR as a very high resolution model, right? And so any errors in initial conditions are amplified very quickly as you get past 18 hours. I will show the HRR as part of my analysis here, but um, I know the NAM is hated by a lot of people, but it's the best tool we got in the mid to, close to the short range. When we get into the night before and the day of a possible event here, then we switch to the HRR because that's kind of a nowcast, right? So, yeah, that's my thinking on that, right? So, you know, the system of interest isn't even close to hitting us yet, right? We have our initial push here of cold air and precip up to the north. Initial snow band going through the northeast, roughly 3 p.m. Today, um, with some snow squalls, as that system pushes through, right? And then you have this next push, um, and this precipitation shield is pretty far north here, and so you see some mixed precipitation in there. There's not going to be a lot of mixed precip with this event, because we're not talking about um, a cold air damming event, right? Where we have overrunning precip um, over a cold dome of high pressure. If you had a cold dome of high pressure here, right, and the system was coming in this way, let's just say, um, and overrunning this moisture, let's just overrunning the cold air with a high pressure up here, cold air funneling down this way. You have a boundary here. Moisture and warm air overrides it, right? So you may have let's just say, a warm nose aloft, right? So it depends on the depth of that warm nose, um, whether you have snow, sleet, or freezing rain, right? In this case, we have um, moisture, cold air coming to be, over top of it this way, right? And we also have moisture being, we have moisture being pushed up this way, but it's a different scenario, right? So that's my reasoning why I don't think there's going to be a lot of sleet or freezing rain with this event. Maybe some sleet at the onset, depending on the depth of the melt layer. Okay, depth of over 1,000 meters or so, then it'll likely melt. Less than 1,000, depending on where it's at. Um, you know, you get sleet. But it looks like to me the temperature profiles will be marginal at the surface, right? So, um, and it's going to be colder aloft. Okay, so that's what's going to happen here. So we look at timing, right? This is 8 a.m. All right, on Sunday. Let's move this back a little bit. So around midnight, we may see some, let's just say, or 3 a.m. Yeah, so um, like I was saying, 10 a.m. here. No, sorry, 3 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, snow may be starting here up north, and you see a pretty stark rain snow line all the way up the Appalachians. So we're having snow breaking out into parts of north central Georgia, near Atlanta, um, parts of North Carolina, South Carolina here, Virginia, up into the Maryland, West Virginia border, um, uh, up into Pennsylvania, right? We got light snow also on the backside here, with this trough moving down, but the main threat up here is temperatures, right? So this snow shield with the cold air push and the moisture overrunning it, um, pushes further south. So we're talking 9 a.m. Okay, and you see this whole snow shield encompasses the Northeast, right? And some pretty intense rain bands offshore here. All right. So yeah, and the Northeast in the Mid Atlantic looks to be on the sweet spot for heavy snow here. Okay, system moves to the north. You're going to be on the razor's edge up here in the Northeast, depending on where you're at in the Mid Atlantic here. Rain snow line is moving further to the east. You see that here? As we get closer to this event, this is Sunday evening, right, 6 p.m. The high resolution models will come into better focus here. So we'll start with using the HRR to look at this as well. See on the back side here, just a broad shield of snow here. The rest of the nation, not much going on. All right. So the system really gets going here, and we have intense snow bands either just offshore, and on the backside of this we have snow. So the potential is here for a fairly significant snowfall accumulation, more so than in the south, right? But in the south, because of potential travel impacts, right? The criteria for winter weather advisory and snow winter storm warnings is a lot lower. So for central Georgia, we're currently under winter weather advisory, and we're only expected to get maybe an inch or so of snow, right? So um, yeah, heavy snow bands are probably going to be offshore here, but we'll have to wait till a little bit later today to analyze this again and really see where the high resolution models are picking up with this. Now, we look at temperatures at the surface, right? Let's look at the apparent, the 2 meter temperature, okay? And we're talking 8 a.m. here. You see where the rain snow line is here. Let's see. The razor's edge was temperatures. It's in the 30s right here, okay? You see how the warm air is being pushed further to the south here. The little band of warm air right up here at the surface. And that's likely due to orographic effects with the cold air not being able to make it through there, right? But the cold air eventually pushes in there and then warms up some during the day, later in the day to maybe 40 or so, right? And the biggest concern for the south is refreezing overnight, right? Wherever that happens. So you see overnight, temperatures will be 20, 30 degrees. So yes, and up to the north here, we're talking, my Lord, let's look at apparent temperature here. Negative 30, negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit wind chills here. So, very brutal temperatures up here as well. So my final take on the NAM here is that, despite all its biases, it handles, warm noses in the atmosphere pretty well, really well actually. And in the mid range, it's probably the best model we have to look at this stuff. And we get towards the short range, the HRRR is probably the best model. So once we see some, get to be looking at the downstream features that are forming here, where the surface low or wave forms in the Gulf, how far south the cold air is, and the models are resolving that in real time, we'll be able to have a little more detailed analysis of where the forecast snow totals will be the highest and where the snow versus rain, things like that. So we're getting a lot more certainty here, but there's still, um, for the south especially, right? For the northeast, I would say there's more certainty at this point. So, and we'll go over that with the snow totals and things as part of this forecast. So what I decided to do is bring up the NAM 3 kilometer here on pivotal weather, and you can see the 540 line here generally at where the 0C line is, right? That's freezing, right? So, um, so that's kind of a loose thing what we use in meteorology to for the freezing level, right? But it's not like a gospel ball where it's gonna the rain snow line is, right? The boundary between here, right? And so you see where the snow onset of snow is here for Middle Georgia. And I have like this because I think most of the people that follow me are in the South, okay? So I have the sounding pulled up here. And I know I'm getting to the weeds here, so stay with me here. Um, so I'm gonna back this up a few model runs. I want to make sure here that I have the most recent run, 06Z, okay? So initially, you can see the profile here. Um, it's plenty cold, and the layer from 12 to 17C is pretty well saturated, right? So snow is forming up here in the upper layers, right? Not too dry or anything. The column's saturated going, I mean, it's a little bit dry, but that's, you know, it's okay. It's still sufficient here. So when we get down to roughly maybe 1.5 kilometers above the surface, we're above freezing here. You see the 0C line in blue? Above freezing for a good period here. And um, maybe below freezing just as we get above the surface, and then back to the surface. And it's already melted, right? So you're going to have rain here, okay? Now we move through in time with this. See the column starting to cool here, right? With that push of the cold air, okay? You still have sufficient moisture in the growth zone for the snow. It's cold, below 0C. I'm just trying to look at this here. It's hard to see, right? But it looks like it's still too warm for too long a period here. So we have rain, right? Then the column is cooling even more, right? Approaching freezing at the surface here, right? But still too warm for too long a time for it to snow for it to stay snow, but it melts partially and refreezes. Okay, so this is calling for sleet. Now we may have a transition to sleet here. We'll see. And then it dries out the column just above the surface here. So that's probably why it's causing freezing rain drizzle here. Although you may be having some dynamic cooling effects as because you're having drying in at the mid levels. I want to see if we're able to overcome that, the mid level dryness here as we go through this, right? So you're on the razor's edge here with this. See how dry it's getting at the low to mid levels? Hopefully we'll be able to overcome that to get at least a little snow here. But I don't know. That's quite a dry layer here. Um, but yeah. So we go out to hour 35. Then you see what happens. It's dry pretty much everywhere, right? And we don't have any precipitation at that point. So we go out to hour 35 on this. For Middle Georgia, you see the radar showing nothing, right? For my friend Mitch up in Columbia, South Carolina. Hopefully you get some snow, my friend. But it looks like it's going to be brief, at least with this model run. So that's the analysis from the SKU-T perspective. I hope y'all get something out of that. It's pretty cool to analyze anyway. All right, so that's it for the NAM. So this is a triple R model, which is not that great at this range, but I wanted to show you what it's doing here. All right. Um, I think it's kind of underdoing the northwest push with this, but we'll see, guys. Okay. One thing it is showing, which is we'll see how this pans out, but this mesoscale banding feature up here in the northeast, in the mid-Atlantic, where this sets up, you could have heavy snow here, guys. Excuse me. Doing a lot of talking today, right? And this is 11 a.m. Sunday, so arguably you could have heavy snow going on Sunday morning up here, right? And maybe potential very impactful snow up here, even along the coast here as the system exits, right? So, yeah, I mean, and I'll go over the snowfall totals possible with this, but this is an interesting trend. Much moist, more moist, I guess you would say, than I've seen, right? So yeah, much more impactful than as far as winter weather goes up north here. So um, so no, the onset roughly the mid-Atlantic, roughly 5 a.m. tomorrow. Okay, and then moving into the northeast corridor, I-95 corridor. Um, in the afternoon, right? So, yeah, gonna be interesting how this sets up as well. As far as South Georgia into Florida, expecting a trace to maybe a half inch of snow with this event. So, be kind of fun to watch it snow here, but it'd probably melt pretty quickly here. So, this is the latest update from the National Weather Service for snowfall totals for Middle Georgia. Um, Generally for, you know, most of the area between 0 and half an inch. So, and likely this will be on the grassy surfaces. So yeah, not too much to get excited about, guys, but be fun to watch anyway. Moving northward here into South Carolina. Sorry, Mitch. They're not forecasting any snow for your area. That's unfortunate. Um, but up to the northeast and the northwest in the mountains, maybe a little bit more between maybe 0 and a half an inch here to a trace. So not a lot of snowfall accumulations here either. So further to the northwest in the Greenville Spartanburg area, this is 1 a.m. today through 7 p.m. Monday. High snowfall totals up here in the highest terrain here of the Tennessee, South Carolina, North Carolina mountainous terrain here. So generally up to 2 inches through 7 p.m. Monday. This graphic is from the Morristown, Tennessee. Sorry, guys. Weather forecast office. Again, we talked about the high snowfall totals in Gatlinburg, Murphy area up into northern Tennessee, um, Virginia, maybe an inch or so to a trace here, depending on where you're at. Again, this is through 7 p.m. Monday. So we move into North Carolina with the snowfall total map. The route of North Carolina Weather Forecast Office. Generally, you can find possibly a trace here. There may be a half an inch of snow with this event. So if we move northwestward in the Blacksburg, Virginia forecast area, um, generally 1 inch to 2 inches, probably higher in the Appalachian Mountains here, and 1 inch further to the east here. So with this event through 7 p.m. Monday, January 19th, which is Martin Luther King Day. This graphic is from the Charleston, West Virginia forecast office, and you can see the highest totals, snowfall totals will expected up here near Elk and Snowshoe, the highest terrain of the Appalachians here, with generally a half an inch to an inch, depending where you're at, to a trace um, with this event. And this is a graphic from the Wakefield, Virginia weather forecast office for snowfall totals through 7 p.m. January 19th. The highest totals are out here um, along the coastline here and inland somewhat, maybe 1 inch, half an inch here into Virginia, right? Cape Hatteras, Ocean City getting an inch maybe. So yeah, not a heavy snowfall event, but as we get further north, we'll see these. It looks like potentially increase. So this is the graphic from the Baltimore, Washington area weather forecast office. Trace. I don't know. They may update this graphic with the next cycle here, but it's possible they could get more than that here, I think. We'll have to see, but you can see further to the north and to the west and to the east, the amounts are higher. And maybe Washington is less because of the heat island effect here. So we'll have to see how this plays out, but this is the most current thinking from the National Weather Service. This graphic was from the Pittsburgh, PA Weather Forecast Office. And you see as you get further north here, likely due to some lake enhancement, generally 1 inch to 0.5 to 2 inches through 7 p.m. Monday, with the system moving through from the west, bringing some enhanced snow and snow squalls today. So, and then a lake effect and enhancement as well. So from the State College, PA area, you can see snowfall totals are highest further to the northwest along the lakes here, 4, 6, 8, 12 inches of snow here, and further to the east. So Scranton, Allentown, Pottsville, 3, 4, 5 inches of snow here, and to the west, 2, 4, as we get closer to the lakes, of course, more as well. And further to the south, the totals taper off as well. Yeah, so this is the forecast snowfall totals with from the Mount Holly WFO. I just think this is somewhat underdone. So, but this is the official forecast. I'm going to go over go back and go over the NAM and HRR snowfall totals here as a review and see if what their snowfall totals show here as well. But I think this might be underdone some because I saw some intense banding with the mesoscale features here that may be setting up. So we'll have to see. It may be a boom or bust thing. We'll see. But as we get towards the afternoon, we'll probably have better clarity with this. So this is the official National Weather Service forecast from the New York office, with the highest snowfall totals expected further to the north here, at least right now, and further to the south, and right along the eastern tip of Long Island, maybe 3 inches. Okay, so generally between 3 and 5 inches here, at least as of right now. Like I said, I think that this is a little underdone at this point, but we'll see. From the Birmingham, New York area, these are the projected snowfall totals. You see the highest amounts, the Buffalo area, the lee side of the lakes here, as well as in the Boonville area, Albany, 1 inch, Monticello, Hancock. So, and the higher amounts up further to the east here. Maybe do some orographic effects or some snow squalls coming through. So, the general between 3 to 6 to 4 to 8 inches of snow, depending where you're at. So this is a graphic from the Albany, New York weather forecast office showing snowfall totals. Generally highest near Watertown, Utica, Floresville, Manchester, Keene, and North Conway here. And other areas, depending on where you're at, 3, 4, 5 inches here. But this is the latest forecast, at least for now. So there's a graphic from the Buffalo, New York forecast office. We show this kind of on another graphic, but you see the high snowfall totals generally along the lakes here, up to 7, potentially 8, 10 inches of snow here, depending on where you're at. So be mindful of that in the next couple days. And here's a graphic from the Boston, Norton, Massachusetts area for snowfall totals. See the highest totals, at least on the coastline, 4 inches possible here, 4 or 5 inches up in the northwest part of the area here, 3 inches in Boston, Gloucester, Lowell, Portsmouth, Newport, Westerly, Clinton. Totals get less as you go further south here. So I changed it up for this graphic with a projected snowfall range amount. So between 4 and 7 to higher amounts here just southeast of Ordertown into Gloversville, Manchester, Jeffrey, Woodstock. Um, this is from the Burlington, Vermont forecast office. Man, I have a lot of problems with my voice today, guys, so you have to forgive me. So this is the Gray, Maine forecast office, probabilistic snowfall range amounts. Like I said, further south, we already showed that graphic. Go further to the north into the east, totals could be higher here, in 1 and 4 to 3 to 5, 3 inches here. But like I said, I think this is a little bit underdone with the current model runs and stuff. But who am I to question the National Weather Service here? So as we move into Caribou, Maine forecast office, which is the last one in the line here, what we're doing from south to north, potentially the highest totals further south here into near Hulton, the Lewiston, and points south, Berlin 1 inch. As you go further to the north and west, not nearly as much expected. So we'll have to see how this plays out. So I'm going to go through the NAM 3 kilometer estimate of what snowfall totals will be here for the south. Snowfall total amounts here. You see the little uh, numbers here, right? And this is through 10 a.m. Tomorrow. Go through time here. And this is Kuchera algorithm for snowfall totals. And one would assume this is correct, especially for the south. It looks at the temperature profile in the atmosphere, and which is usually very moist, right? So your ratios are probably 5 to 1 or less. You get further north, the ratios are probably 10 to 1 or more, because drier, colder air, ratios are higher, right? So generally, I think this is a little bit overdone for these areas, but you never know, guys, right? As we get further north, I think this is somewhat underdone, right? Okay, so this for the south, all right? And I'm going to go to the northeast and mid-Atlantic next. So this is a NAM 3 kilometer model potential for sleet in the southeast. I think the biggest possibility here for us is sleet, not freezing rain, as the system transitions here. So from rain to snow here. So we may have a brief period of sleet, which may limit snowfall accumulations even more. And so just wanted to show you this as well. Go through time, it doesn't increase much because we're past that event here. So assuming the 10 to 1 ratio for snow up here, this is what the NAM is showing potential snowfall amounts, especially along the Outer Banks here. can't remember what that is, islands this is out here. But anyway, potential for heavy snow out here. And I've seen a trend here of, heavier snow in this area. So I won't be surprised if this increases even more, right, as we go through time here. But we'll see. So move this through time. All right. Generally 3 to 5 inches with higher amounts further to the north and to the east. Yeah, again, assuming to 10-to-1 ratio here, you move to the northeast corridor for the NAM output. Really intense snow bands setting up here right offshore. These islands could potentially get, um, I think it's Nantucket out here, 10 inches of snow into the Atlantic Canada as well. If you get some heavy snow. So we'll have to see if this moves further to the north and west as we go through time here, the next 12 to 18 hours or so. So in closing, today we have, transition day to when we could have potential snowfall event in parts of the southeast, and then moving up to the northeast. And, we'll see how this sets up. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be cold, especially up in the northern tier of the U.S. Very dangerous today. So let's be safe out there today, guys, and God bless.